Coming to you from deep within the heart of Texas in our secret underground bunkers, it's the New Republic Radio Show. Welcome to the February 7th, 2013 edition of the New Republic. I'm your host, Keith Clark. I hope you guys and gals are ready to go along with me on a nice little adventure today. I hope you've all had a great week and a great overall year. We got a lot of stories going on, so we'll just kind of hit them right out of the gate. One of my top stories here I'm seeing, 7 million will lose insurance under Obama health law. Now, I know a lot of you are looking at this like, yeah, and what else is new? I mean, we knew this was coming. Well, about half of America knew this was coming. Obviously, the other half didn't. Those are the ones who voted for the second term for Obama. But now we're kind of getting to that whole deal of elections have consequences. And not only are people losing jobs over this, they're getting their hours cut back, they're losing insurance. Their insurance is going up for individuals, for family members, whatnot. I mean, I kind of hate to have to tell you I told you so, but for you Obama supporters, honestly, I told you so. We all did. We tried to warn you. We tried to explain that you can't get nothing. You can't get something out of nothing. And that's becoming glaringly clear. For instance, the fact that the cheapest insurance plan on the Obama health care plan is going to be $20,000 per family member. So how do you expect every single person in this country to pay $20,000 if they're on the cheapest version, without all the bells and whistles? That's a very big question. So what are we going to do about it? Well, there's not much that we can do. It is law. It's going it's gone into the books. It's going into motion now. The best thing that we can do is hope that the lawmakers that we have elected will start to realize this, and even the folks who supported Obamacare will start to realize, as it's starting to come to fruition, that is entirely too expensive. We don't have the money. We're already a broke country. We don't have enough people working to begin with to support it. And, hopefully they will realize that they're just going to have to skip on this. They're going to have to defund it, put it away for another time is hopefully what they'll look at and think and decide to do. Obviously, you and I want them to just completely get rid of it. But it is just, I got to admit, it's amusing for me to sit back and watch all the Obama supporters. They're starting to get it. They're starting to see, with the beginning of the year, with their taxes, their Social Security income tax, the Medicare, all that stuff, the Medicaid, all that stuff is going up. They're getting smaller and smaller paychecks, and they're starting to realize, wow, I made a mistake. This guy really doesn't know what's going on. He has some lofty ideas, but there's a reason why those lofty ideas have not been tackled before. They've not been accomplished because reasonable men and women understand that nationalized health care in a country this large is not a reasonable idea. It's not a reasonable goal. Not only is it pretty much against the American way, but with over 310 million people, plus another 50 or 60 million illegal aliens, how do you accomplish that? That's a serious question, and it's something that we're going to have to learn the hard way. Moving on. Now, this is something that honestly doesn't surprise me, but I guess the way that it was said really disappoints me. Chris Rock, as some of you know, just made a big thing where he came up and just basically said the president is our boss, he's our dad, and you basically got to do what your dad says. He knows best. He has the bigger picture going. Well, I think celebrities saying stupid things, that really doesn't surprise me. what surprises me is just the total lack of education from Chris Rock. I don't know his entire background, but this, even though I'm not a big formal education, go to college, go from there, go on, get your doctorate, get all the, just basically do everything that you can. I'm not that big on formal education, but in this particular case, I have to assume that some form of decent education. I don't know if Chris Rock actually has a high school diploma, but he really doesn't understand. I mean, the president is the boss of nobody in America other than, the people that are in his office. But once you step outside of the White House, he's nobody's boss. And the utter lack of understanding and just complete like, oh, well, we all got to do what the president says. He's got our best interests at heart. That whole idea is just mind-boggling, that this could come from a grown adult. That just, it boggles my mind. I don't know, guys. What do you think? I mean, give me a call, give me a text, tell me what you think. One interesting story, and this is going to be a little bit long, but oh well. It's kind of an important subject to me. As some of you noticed, I posted on my site about a debate between the former Archbishop of Canterbury, Dr. Rowan Williams, where he defeated prominent atheist Professor Richard Dawkins in a debate at the University of Cambridge in England on Thursday night. As a vote taken at the conclusion of the debate ruled that religion does have a place in the 21st century. Well, yeah, first off, I don't even understand how any atheist or group of atheists, which this actually was, it was a group of atheists and a group of theists, and even some atheists that were on the side of the theists. But but these two prominent individuals were some of the main proponents here. But the thing is I don't understand how anybody can even try to put forward the idea that religion does not have a place in the 21st century or any century. The fact that you would even try to debate that makes me question your actual intelligence, because there's just no way you would ever be able to win that debate. There's not enough facts in the universe to try to come to that conclusion. I don't know. I mean, I am amazed. Granted, I realize people like Richard Dawkins, not the smartest person out there. And of course, his debate skills severely lacking. If you've watched the video, it's over an hour long, so I know not a lot of you watch that. But, well, most of these guys, I have to admit, have horrible debating skills. Maybe in their books. I've not read all their books. I'm not that big on reading books. I like debate. I love books, but I don't like reading, books, for instance, by Richard Dawkins. And for instance, like the Archbishop here. Those aren't two of my favorite authors. I will say that. But the thing is, so I've not read their arguments necessarily put out in book form, but I will say that their oratory skills are severely lacking. Well, I will say Dr. Rowan was pretty decent on his oratory skills, but his debate skills, while better than Richard Dawkins, neither one of them were super impressive. But all this aside, one of the things that really impressed me about this whole deal was a physicist stood up after, for instance, Richard Dawkins basically was bringing up the point that science basically proves to you that there is no God, because the information, basically, once you attain a certain level of information, you will automatically understand that there is no God, and it's all random, and there is no direction on anything. After this, a few people spoke, but a physicist got up in specific response to this. And one of the things that he brought up, I just thought was a very pertinent point, and it's the fact that he said, as a physicist, that look, we understand that 75% of the universe is invisible. And we don't necessarily understand what makes up that 75% of the universe. And, this gets to the core of the problem that I have with atheists, not as people, but as a philosophical outlook. I have a very huge problem with atheists, because atheists have this idea that the fact that they're just 100% sure that there is no possibility of a God. Because, for instance, in order for an atheist to believe that, one needs to believe that there's no possibility. If you believe in the possibility that there could be a God, you would be an agnostic. Now, I realize that there's many versions of agnostics and atheists, but if we go to the core belief and ideas of what these two philosophies entail, it's the basic idea that one is there is no God, there is no possibility of God. The other is I don't see any proof of God, but I'm not ruling out that there couldn't be a God. And to me, that is one of the most annoying things about atheists, because if you say that you're an atheist, if you take an atheist position, I don't believe that you're intellectually honest. And here's the reason why. The simple fact that you, as a person, as a human being on this planet, in this solar system, way out on the outskirts of the Milky Way in this part of the galaxy, you, my friend, know so little about the universe. What you know as an individual is probably less than 1% of all of the knowledge attainable in the universe. Even if we look at it as a culture, as the human race combined, with all of our scientific knowledge, even our scientists will tell you that 75% of the universe is invisible, and we're not real sure. We call it dark matter, but the problem is we don't know exactly what that dark matter is. We don't have ways of necessarily measuring it. We don't know how it reacts. We can't observe it. That's kind of a problem. When you get into the simple fact of saying, we know about 25% of the universe. Well, let me tell you what, in that 75%, it's a lot of room for God. A God, gods, anything. I mean, I'm not even trying, to push my own personal beliefs on you. That's fine. I mean, believe what you want to believe, but it is kind of arrogant and, well, just dishonest when you try to say that, yeah, I am absolutely certain there is no God. If you come to that conclusion, there's not a whole bunch I can talk to you about anything philosophical or anything about science, because you don't have the ability to learn. You don't have the ability to be open-minded. You don't have the ability to learn new systems. I mean, for instance, you would be one of those guys that's screaming the earth is flat for years and years and years, because that is all your knowledge has taught you. That's what you've been raised up as. That's what the science books tell you. But you can't be told anything different because you are so absolutely certain. You don't have an intellectual curiosity to wonder if there is a new system, if there is a new way of looking at things. And that, again, that I was just really struck by that particular statement, because even this physicist standing up and confronting Richard Dawkins was just simply talking about the fact that science does not show us that there is no God, that there cannot be a God, that everything is random and nothing is patterned and nothing has a creator, a design, a forward motion towards a goal. That's basically what Richard Dawkins was trying to say. That's what he was trying to lay out in what he was saying there. But again, I find it amusing that here it is, a physicist whose work is much more complex in a lot of ways, especially mathematically, than Richard Dawkins, than his work. But again, he made a good point that the fact that, universal truth and just these ideas of what's truth and what's not, physicists have to throw those ideas out because they're working on such a theoretical level. But no, I mean, people like Richard Dawkins just automatically looks at those types of sciences as hard sciences that never change, that will never adapt, they will never evolve in any way, shape, or form. And, again, that's just a short-sighted way of looking at things. It doesn't bother me that Richard Dawkins doesn't believe in God. It bothers me that Richard Dawkins is an atheist, that he's not at least being true to intellectual curiosity and being an agnostic and saying, look, I don't believe in God, but I'm not ruling out the possibility because I know so little, such a small percentage of what this universe is about and what this life is about. I'm not willing to make that intellectual leap to say I am with complete certainty and complete honesty, I am of the belief that there is no God. That to me right there throws all your credibility out the window. But that's just very broad topic. I just wanted to bring it up because I was very impressed with the physicist. I was trying to find his name, but they've taken down a lot of the videos. So Cambridge basically had a lot of copyright claims to it. So it's hard to find the original video now. It was somewhere around an hour and 5 minutes, right around there. If you can get to it, you'll see the exact part that I was talking about. And I thought it was a great counterpoint to the whole thing. And it was a laughable response by Mr. Dawkins because, of course, he had to get up there and be like, well, the admission of the possibility of God is not the acknowledgement that there is a God. And the funny part is, hey, Mr. Dawkins, nobody was trying to, at that point, no one was trying to say that, hey, just because we don't know it's there means that there's a God. Nobody was trying to say that. That physicist was not trying to say that. But Richard Dawkins, when he at that point didn't have anything to say, he couldn't come up with a response, a proper response. He had to go and completely put out a straw man argument, which the guy was not talking about. He put the straw man argument up. He tore it down in front of everybody, and ooh, voila! Look, Mr. Dawkins won in that particular. No, he didn't. No, he didn't, because it's not what the physicist was saying. He was just saying that there was room for God. He did not say that was confirmation of a God. He was basically debunking what Mr. Dawkins had previously said, which is through science, you can prove that there is no God, that there is no creation, that there's no design, that there, it's all random. And again, Richard Dawkins lost. It's not unusual for him to lose because he loses a lot. Unless he gets to be able to debate something that is much smaller. That's one of the reasons why I personally don't like to debate these large type of things. Whether or not religion belongs in the 21st century. That's a huge subject, and there's not enough time in the universe, honestly, to really even discuss that. And yeah, I would definitely take the con side where I'm saying, no, absolutely, there is a place for religion in the 21st century. Yeah, I would do that because it's an easy task to have an argument against that. But to sit there and try to say that religion has no place in the 21st century, as a debater, you're absolutely out of your mind to take on that argument. And the fact that these guys, and if you see the video, the arrogance and the complete disrespect that they have for religion of any type is just amazing. But it would take that kind of arrogance for you to try to debate this position, for you to try to say, look, I am pro this position and here's the reasons why. I mean, yeah, sure, that's fine if you just want to describe why, but to think that anybody would ever come to your side and to agree with you, you're out of your mind and you are insanely overconfident and you're just, well, I don't know. I mean, arrogant is just the only word that I can truly come up with that comes close. Well, and again, I'm not dissing on my atheist friends, nor my agnostic friends. I'm not trying to change y'all to anything. I like intellectual honesty. I love talking about philosophy. I love debating gods, whether, God exists, gods exist, whatever. I love talking about it. But again, if we are going to talk about it, I expect a certain amount of intellectual honesty. And if you're going to take a position that in itself is a dishonest position, I'm going to call you on it. So tell me what you think. 979-31-TALK-6, 979-31-TALK-6. Taxing relationship. Man claims IRS agent coerced him into sex. Well, many of you are sitting there going, what? Well, basically, he had an IRS agent come to his house and, let him know, look, you owe all this money. Evidently, she found him attractive. So she basically was like, look, if you have sex with me, you take care of this bill. I won't charge you the thousands and thousands and tens of thousands of dollars of interest that they charge you and all the fees and stuff that they, you might owe them $2,000, but by the time they come to your house, you're already into it 10 or 12 grand. But the thing is she basically told him, yeah, look, you have sex with me. This all goes away. You just pay off your little bill and we're good to go. Well, the guy, he at first refused her. Then she came back and they started talking about basically paying the fines, and she was wearing, some very provocative a very provocative outfit. He agrees. They finally do the business. And she comes back a couple other times, to basically, I guess, milk this for all it's worth. But the weird thing is, he gets it done. It's all taken care of. The money's paid. He goes on about his business. She does too. I don't know how many years ago this was, but it was 2 or 3 years back, if I remember right. But the thing is basically everything's good to go. He's no longer in trouble with the IRS. She got what she wanted. Now he's like, whoa, hold on, I'm going to sue the IRS. So, now he says that he's going to sue the IRS. Now he's suing the IRS and he's claiming, hey, mental anguish and, all this other stuff. And I mean, I don't know. I kind of get it if he would have done it right after or right during, but I find it odd that he waited so long. I mean, it's whatever, man, but I just thought it was kind of an amusing story. I know we probably shouldn't find people being coerced into sex amusing, but you just got to wonder about the circumstances of the story. Post office to be closed on Saturdays. Well, I'll be honest. I hope this doesn't affect anybody that I know, and I don't want post office people to lose their job, number one, get their hours cut back and all that. But this is something that I honestly support, and maybe some of you don't understand that, but here's the reason why. I mean, honestly, most people use email these days, text messages, even fax. And then there's also the fact that sometimes you'll have people like UPS or FedEx that are cheaper to send whatever box or whatever you want. So I don't really understand why, people don't send letters anymore. So the only thing that most people get in their mail is bills. That's it. And what you get most people get 5 or 10. I get like 3. I get like three or 4 bills each month, and that's it. That's the only time that I ever need the post office. Everything, and now don't get me wrong, I always got garbage in my in my mailbox, but that's what it is. It's garbage. It's ads. It's local papers from the grocery stores or whatever. I mean, I don't need that stuff. I never look at it. I automatically throw it away. So what is the point, really? I just think that the post office, while it served its purpose, and it's a great thing overall to have, it needs to evolve. It needs to change because times are just different now. The only people that still do mail are, the folks, and sadly, that are like 60, 70 and older. Everybody mainly does, online bill pay, stuff like that. So there's just no real need for the post office for the most part. Now, what they're going to be doing is they're still going to have Saturday deliveries, but it's just going to be packages, basically. So, hopefully that means that, people will still be working. Maybe they won't be working as many hours. But again, it's just one of those things. I mean, times change, things change. But it's only going to save them $2 billion. And the thing is last year they lost $14 billion. So, sadly, it's not going to help them a whole lot. But maybe in another year or two, they'll move and go to one more day, that they don't deliver. Like, let's say Wednesdays. Maybe they just deliver Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. And maybe that might save them some more money. But, I mean, what are you going to do? They have their union, their retirement is so huge. That's basically what the post office, that's where all the money's going, the vast majority of the money. That's the reason why they're losing so much money. And as time goes on, they're just going to have more and more people to pay. So this is kind of one of those never-ending stories. It's like there's just almost no way that the post office could ever be profitable or even break even, just because of the simple fact that in another 5 years, another 10 years, and another 20 years, so many people will be retired having worked at the post office for many years. They'll have pensions and plans, retirement, all that stuff. So, the post office is just going to be paying these people to do nothing. So they're going to have an entire workforce that they're paying for no reason, and a whole entire new workforce that they're paying to actually work. And yes, I know that that's the whole point of pensions and all that. But the problem is had they not had such a successful union, the amounts which they get paid much better than private pensions and stuff like that. So, they wouldn't be in so much trouble. They're kind of like in that whole situation with like GM. The unions have just basically dried them up. They just take every last dime that they can get without caring about the outcome and what it's going to do to the companies or the organizations that are paying for it. So what are we going to do? We've got to do something. We've got to figure something out. I hope that they do, but I don't see a real, huge answer. All I see is less delivery time. Obviously, stamps are going to have to go up even more. And they're going to have to try to figure out ways to take some of the market share away from FedEx and away from UPS. Price war works out for our advantage. Hopefully it'll work out for the post office. Maybe they can get a little bit more of that share. But snail mail as a whole, honestly, snail mail's dead. I think really the only thing that Americans really use snail mail for anymore is your Christmas cards, your engagement card, engagements, Christmas, major holidays, so-and-so's having a baby, all that. I mean, that's really it. But it's just kind of an interesting thing, too, because just the simple fact, again, times change. Top Democrat warns against using term illegal immigrants. Wow. He goes on to say, I hope no one uses the term illegal immigrants here today. Our citizens are not. The people in this country are not illegal. They are out of status. They are new Americans that are immigrants, said Representative John Conyers, Jr., Michigan Democrat. Yeah, you know what, Mr. Conyers? You're wrong. They're illegal. I mean, they're not citizens. You referred to them as citizens that are out of status. They're not citizens. Seriously, do you not understand laws at all? I mean, is your cognitive ability so lapsed and so minuscule that you can't figure out what a citizen is versus an illegal alien? Do you not understand what illegal alien means? I mean, seriously, he has a serious problem. Illegal alien, illegal immigrant, citizen. These are three terms he needs to understand. He needs to look up and he needs to understand, because you're out of your freaking mind if you think that these people they're out of status. I mean, seriously, they came illegally into the country. Oh, and you know what? This reminds me. I couldn't find it when I was trying to work this up, but there was a poll earlier. I don't know how much earlier, maybe this week or last or whatever. But the thing was, it showed that 30% of illegal immigrants don't want citizenship. They don't. They don't want it at all. And again, it could be even higher, because how do you interview illegal immigrants? I mean, you know, they're not exactly standing out there on the side of the street going, "Hey, would you like to ask an illegal immigrant a question?" But yeah, I found that amusing, you know. But yeah, I mean, seriously, Democrats, come on, guys. I know you guys need people to vote for you, but this is just getting out of hand. 979-31-TALK-6. 979-31-TALK-6. Charlottesville outlaws drones. Now, this is just a touchy subject because, well, just the simple fact of how far this could go wrong. Okay? Not just the fact that drones over the U.S. and over U.S. soil, they could be a complete nuisance. And what I mean by that is, you know, for instance, in New York, they could look down, see that you were drinking a drink that's more than 16 ounces. They could alert local police to come get you. They could ticket you by taking a picture of you, facial identification. There's all kinds of ways that could go wrong. You're speeding in your car down the highway. You receive a ticket in the mail. You had no idea that the drone caught you, because it happened to belong to the local police department or the local city. You get a ticket in the mail because you have too many dog houses in the backyard. The drone was flying over. It looked down, it saw a picture of your it took a picture of your backyard. It saw that you had a garden in your backyard. And let's say it's illegal to have gardens in your city, which a lot of cities are outlawing. But I'm just saying, there's so many directions. I mean, think about it. Think about that thing that all of us do. It's not all the same. Everybody's got their little thing. But think about whatever it is that you do, whether it be speeding, not wearing your seatbelt, having too many animals, having a garden in your yard, drinking soft drinks that are too large, whatever that is, just imagine that. And imagine how a drone could catch you doing that. Or those things. I mean, I don't know. Maybe, I speed a little bit every once in a while. I mean, I might run a stop sign if nobody's around. Yeah, I know. Yeah, that's kind of bad. But the thing is I would never do it with any other cars around. But the thing is, I'm just saying, whatever it is that you do that you shouldn't be doing. But the fact is, we're Americans and we look at things like this. Look, it is against the law, but until I get caught, that's the game. The game is between me and the cop, or me and the police department, or me and the whoever. I'm gonna push my luck until I get caught. That's just the way we do it. That's the reason why we hate speed traps, because we like the ability to get on the highway and we're looking around and, oh, no cops around, we can speed. But then we get all upset whenever somebody sets up a trap for us. And, hey, I get it. I feel the same way too. I don't like speed traps. But that's the thing is, this is like the ultimate speed trap in the sky. You'll never know when it hits you. Yes, that's a horrible thing, because I don't want to live in America where every single thing that I do is on tape. Everything that I do wrong is caught and I'm ticketed or I'm fined or I'm sentenced to jail, time, whether it be 5 days, 30 days, 2 months, or if I'm sentenced to federal prison or state prison. I mean, I never want to ever be in the situation where it was like, well, we caught you by this drone that happened to be flying by your house or flying by your car or flying, wherever you were, you happen to get caught. But that's okay. That is bad. And that's definitely an America that we don't want to live in. But let me take it a step further. A lot of the gun debate that's going on, which I would absolutely love to get into on a, especially like against somebody like Pierce Morgan. The lefties, they all want to sit here and say, when they're trying to grab our guns, they say, well, we don't need the Second Amendment anymore because we don't need it. We don't need to be protected from our government. Our government would never do anything bad. And people always bring up, well, look what we did when we interned all the Japanese and the Germans during World War II. And they go, well, yeah, that's bad. And that wasn't good, but that was during World War II. And you say, well, what about when we had all the Indians, that originally lived here, and we locked them up and basically threw away, gave them a little slot of land and made them live on it, and took all their guns and their means of existence away. And they go, well, that was in the 1800s. We don't do that anymore. And we go all the way back and we say, well, look what the look what the Revolutionary War was about. The Brits were coming to take all of our ammunition and all of our stores and all of our gunpowder away. And what do they always say? They would say, well, my gosh, that was 230 years ago. Get over it. Get over yourself. You don't need guns. Well, let me tell you about drones and drone strikes. Right now, 2013, drone strikes are killing Americans without trials. Don't believe me? That's what the whole hubbub about today was about Obama releasing, saying that it was all top secret, that he didn't have to explain himself. Then he about faced and said, well, okay, I'm going to give you the short version of why it's okay for me to kill American citizens without trial. And let me tell you, right now, American citizens are being killed without trial. If you don't believe me, read it. They don't read the wording. It says that they don't have to be engaged in a plot against the U.S. They don't even have to be engaged in a plot against the U.S. You can just be on that list as a person that's probable to do something. Now, this goes all the way back to this story about Charlottesville outlawing drones in their town. Again, it's just like the gun grabbers. What's the government going? The government's not going to hurt you. The government's not coming for you. Why are you freaked out? Well, you know what? The government is hurting American citizens right now. They are killing American citizens right now without trial. And you know who it is? It's Mr. Obama, Mr. Hope and Change. So a lot of you, all you folks that hate Republicans, if you think Obama does it, or rather he does it now, and you think Obama's so great because he's a Democrat, well, imagine your worst nightmare of a Republican president. And I'm not saying either way a Republican president would do it or not do it. George Bush, supposedly he has some of this stuff on his hands too. But the simple fact is, because you're such a liberal person, so pro-Democrat, you would believe a Republican would do it, even though you don't want to believe that a Democrat would do it. But the thing is if a Democrat president in your eyes that's so great, if he's going to do it now in 2013, well, what about 2015? What about 2020? What about 2030? Who knows what's going to be going on at that point. If we don't outlaw drones now, if our cities don't outlaw drones in the city, and our states don't outlaw In the counties, outlaw them in the counties. In the states, outlaw them in the states. And then turn around and say, Congress, this has to be legislated. You have to make a law on this. We are protecting ourselves, but the federal government is doing nothing to protect us. You know, that's a great short-term stopgap measure to basically say, look, you know, we're outlawing, our cities, our counties, our states are outlawing drones. If we do that now, just like Charlottesville, if all of us get together, if we band together and we start doing this, not only are we protecting ourselves from just the sheer annoyance of getting tickets, speeding tickets, of getting, you know, your drink was too big, of you've got too many animals on your property, of you're growing vegetables on your property, or whatever, you know, whatever it is that, you know, is going to be annoying and un-American to our daily lives. At least we won't get all the way to the point of where we're having this huge debate about why we shouldn't have drones because American citizens are being killed on American soil. You know, yes, at this moment, American citizens are not dying on American soil from drone strikes that we know of. I've not seen any real evidence that suggests to the contrary. But that being said, that is the reason why we have to be strong on this. We have to show the outrage, because not only is it just un-American, not only is it annoying because, you know what, we're Americans, we want to do what we do, but it's horribly dangerous. It's horribly dangerous because the fact when you can have an unpiloted drone up there in the skies 24 hours a day looking for something that's wrong, I'm sorry, but it's just like cops. When they come through the neighborhood, if they're looking for something that's wrong or something that's fishy or something that's, you know, questionable, they're going to find it. Because that's the problem, is when you're in that mindset, you see something wrong with everything. What's going to happen when we have a drone 24/7 that's looking for something that's wrong, that's looking for something that's shady, that's fishy? You know, that's all they're going to be looking for. So, unfortunately, they're going to eventually find it. There will be accidents. There will be situations. You know, all kinds of problems, you know, will come of this. Then there will be, you know, collateral damage. You know, it's like, well, we had the terrorist. He was on Main Street, but we didn't realize that on Church Street, right next to it, the missile, you know, it flew astray and it blew up that church. We're really sorry. It's a horrible thing. You know, the president's going to have a meeting about it, and he's going to talk about how bad it was. You know, but we don't need to get to that point. You know, we can stop it now. We can make the difference now so that we don't have to have this battle 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 30 years from now. Anyway, 979-31-TALK-6. Let me know what you think. Give me a text. Give me a call. Leave a message. I want to see what you guys think about all this stuff. Anyway, all right. Well, that's going to wrap it up for today's show. I hope you guys enjoyed. And in another few days, you will be getting the next show. So, all right, guys. Y'all have a great one. I'm your host, Keith Clark, and I'm out.